Hello viewers, and welcome to another of the new rallies then, the Rally of Germany. Again, one that's been remodeled and refined heavily from the previous rallies we've seen so far and previous versions of Germany. I quite like the flowing nature when they redid it in WRC 3. I quite like the tarmac texture. I found it fun to play. Sure, it was arcade-like, it wasn't necessarily a simulation, but it was still good fun. Nevertheless, here we are in the car and rolling up to the line, ready to begin our stage. I'll be running this one from the cockpit cam, standard cockpit cam, and mixing it all up a bit for you guys so you can see all the different cams when making these videos. And obviously I can't show these cams. A very tricky start, I have to point out there, by the way. You go from the line and suddenly you're right corner straight away. That's one that's sort of upon you. But yes, I want to show you different cameras because I can't select these cameras in the replay mode, so I have to drive it with these cameras to actually show you them. Nevertheless, it's very playable from these points of view, and I quite like it as well. I have to admit though, my favourite cam in the game is the forward cam at the moment. The forward cockpit cam. I find it. I've thought that playing Supercar Challenge. Somebody mentioned it on the comments there. Supercar Challenge, which was the sequel to Ferrari Challenge, which came out on the PS3 a few years ago, and that was the first game I made videos on in racing games. Before then I'd only done written content on racing games for years, and I quite like that forward cam. I think it works well, places you where your eyes are, still gives you the feeling of being in a cockpit without feeling like you're sitting in the back seat. So very twisty sections. Again, this is one of those squiggly rallies, as I like to call it. Not many flat out high speed sections now. It's completely changed in terms of its approach. It's very narrow indeed. And actually some sections I find very tricky with a PS3 controller, and I'll explain those when I get to them. I simply struggle to drive those sections because the rally is so narrow and so off camber that the car can move about a lot on the surface, the road surface. Trying to get the handbrake there, just wasn't quite getting the handbrake in as I'd like it. Difficult in some of these corners. Again, I mentioned the handbrake every stage. The handbrake it changes obviously immensely depending on how fast you're going and what texture you're driving on. You just need practice really, and also different cars. This car is way more nimble than some of those I've been driving. So if you compare this to the Hyundai or well, not Minis so much, but the Ford I was in, this car is way faster, way more nimble, has loads of power. And so a lot of the time you're trying to find that comfort point. You know, you can't take these corners at full power. You're sort of lifting a bit. Ordinarily you'd probably balance the throttle a bit more, so you'd find that bit halfway where you can keep the car on the limit of traction, but at the same time very much comfortably going around the corner very quickly. Whereas with the pad, it's very much power on or power off, and finding that bit in between can be tricky. So you'll hear me going up and down the power, sort of revving it essentially, trying to find that point to keep speed in the car rather than balancing the throttle so much. And that's one of the things where a wheel really does make a big difference on games such as this, and should always be quicker. Nevertheless, here I am playing with the pad on all these videos, and it plays very well indeed, so it's been a lot of fun. This is a tricky section, so this is the section I was talking about. You can see that there's very much a crown to the road, so it just throws the car off either side, and you have a curb on the inside as well which can unbalance the car, so it's trying to get on the power, but you can see there's just so much power in the car that it's oversteering or understeering, and it's a lot of work through that section. So not nearly as quick through that section as I would like to be. Got to the end of it at last, nearly overdid it, and then slow around that corner there. Didn't quite get it in right, but I was just glad to get through that section. Bit of a hellhole, a bit wide, just didn't get the car in on time. And this one we should get right. That's much better. So again, you can see how slow it was once you actually get it right. It's actually those corners there's no way of doing them quick. You just want to get in there nice and early. I look forward to what people can actually do online though, because people online never cease to amaze me with the shortcuts they find, the extra track they find that we're not actually using here, and the ability to handle all of these sections. So you can see I actually lost time. The red section there, and that was just that very slow section. it was no good for me. Back onto the twisty ground bits, I'm okay again despite touching the wall there. Again, I suppose it's one of those stages where you're never really getting up out of second gear. It feels like second and third. You're just never going through the gears. I don't think we see sixth gear anytime in this stage. And it would be nice to have had some high speed sections on these roads where you really felt like you were going for it, rather than just second gear into third, into second, into third, into second, into third, which is a lot of what we have just all joined together. And a mistake there, massive mistake, completely misread the corner, the command I was receiving for the corner, and across the finish we go. And that's it for the Rally of Germany. Multicam view to come, and more from me very soon.